Hi everyone, today's video is going to be all about blending the products that you need to create an eye look. So today I decided to do a video that is a little bit more different and more educational, I guess. So I've been wanting to do a video on how to blend eyeshadow, how to put together a look, what brushes you need, what products you need. So, blending eyeshadow is very important so that your look looks a lot more put together. Hopefully be a lot more helpful for a lot of you guys. That way you can, watch any tutorial and kind of get more of an idea on what you need, how to blending. You will be needing an eye base or eye primer. Now when it comes to eye bases or eye primers, I always use either a MAC paint pot, which is meant for the eye area, and it is a prolonger formula. It's going to cover up any discolorations, any veins that you might have, any darkness on the eyes, anything like that. It's just going to create like a very clean canvas to work on. So yeah, this one is in quite natural, which is perfect for people with a deeper skin tone, and I also have one for a lighter skin tone. So a good one is soft ochre for people with like light to medium skin tones. It is a more yellow based, whereas painterly I would say is perfect for like fair to light skin tones because it's more like pinky based and it's a little lighter. So yeah, those are the three paint pots that I would recommend. Now when I don't use paint pots, I use a concealer. So the concealer that I apply as a base for my eyeshadows is the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer NC15. So this is what we are going to be using today. So I always take one pump in the back of my hand, and that is usually way more than enough for both eyelids. So the type of brush that you want to use to apply it is a brush like this one. This is a concealer brush. Your fingers is fine. You don't need to have a concealer brush with you. So yeah, what you want to do is take some of that concealer on the brush and begin to apply it on the eye area. Make sure that you cover the whole eye area. I would definitely recommend that you go all the way up to the brow bone, because personally I apply eyeshadow up to the brow bone. So yeah, that's what I would definitely recommend, and that you bring it into the inner corner as well, like that. So as you can see, this eye is looking a little bit more shiny because the oils are coming through my eyelids. So like right here where it creases, I get oily a bit, not too much, but this is just going to help them stay and not come through and ruin your eyeshadow. This is going to prevent any creasing. This is going to, like I said, even out that skin tone and make it all one color, and it's just going to make your eyeshadow last a lot longer, be more vibrant. Now that you've applied your eye base, now your eye base is going to be wet and tacky. It's not going to completely dry on its own. You never want to go in and apply, like your crease shade, your blending shade, anything before you set that. If you don't set that, it's going to create a patchy effect. So your eyeshadow is going to not be smooth when you blend. So like, let's say I were to go straight in with a brush and begin to apply my blending color, it will skip in certain areas. So you look back and you're like, whoa, what happened? That's because the wetness and the tackiness of that concealer is like pulling the eyeshadow in certain areas, and it's, you know, kind of like making it skip. So it's not going to look blended at all, and you probably will have to remove everything again and redo your eyeshadow. So I suggest that you have either a translucent powder to set that area. It can be a skin toned eyeshadow as well. It can also be like your face powder. It can also be any skin tone shade, like this one right here, anything matte. So I personally prefer a skin toned eyeshadow. So what I do is I take one of these big shader brushes. So I'm just going to pack on some of that skin toned eyeshadow onto the brush and then onto the eye. So what you want to do is just press it on there until, you know, you have set the whole eye area. So anywhere where you applied that base. So yeah, now that I set the base, I take a little bit more of that same skin toned eyeshadow and I press it right underneath the eyebrow and all the way to the tail of the brow. What I've found that this does is, like, when I do my blending later on, I'll have that extra eyeshadow there, so I can take a larger blending brush and that shade is going to help like diffuse everything a little bit better. So yeah, now that we have that down, so I'm going to be using neutrals. Neutrals is something everyone's going to have in their makeup collection. So I'm going to pick out 3 neutral shades to create a very basic but put together eye look. Pick a gradient from light to dark. The next shade that I'm going to be using is a little bit darker and has a hint of brown, and that's going to be a perfect blending color. You always want to go 1 to 2 tones darker than what you used before that. This is the shade Bamboo by MAC, large blending brush. Now this one is the E35. So this blending brush is by Sigma. It's very soft and fluffy. So the fluffier, the less eyeshadow it's going to pick up, and the less harsh it's gonna look on the eye. You don't wanna like take your brush and swirl it into your eyeshadow, because that's just going to put too much product on the brush. Let's say tap your brush 3 times into that eyeshadow. You don't want to like get too much, or a little bit more longer and flare it out, so it covers a larger area of the crease. Now when holding your brush, you want to hold it midways. You never want to go too close to the ferrule, because that adds too much pressure. Whereas if you go way down here, it's just, you know, going to look very sloppy. Now to make things easier, you want to look down, because that way you see, even if you don't have a visible crease, you're going to see where, you know, where your eyeshadow is going to go. So if you lightly push in with your brush, you can see that's just making a dent in my eye where the crease is. That is where you are going to apply that blending shade, because that's where our natural crease, you know, is. If you have a visible crease, you know, even better. But if you don't, like me, I kind of have to work a little harder with my eyeshadows, then that's what I would recommend that you do. You feel for your crease. Now you're going to go in like windshield wiper motions. So back and forth, like I said, halfway down the brush, back and forth. So you're going to look down into a mirror. So you're going to look down and go back and forth. Now, as you can see, that created a little bit of a shadow. Now I'm going to go in that color again. Now, just because I want a little bit more. So again, you're going to tap it 3 times. I would say tap it in there 3 to 4 times. You don't want to use too much at once. So that's why I'm going in a second time. So again, windshield wiper motions, back and forth. You can also do circular motions, which is something I typically do with my blending shade, because my blending shade is not something that I want to be super precise, because even if it goes up into the upper crease, it's fine, because that's just going to make it look like my eyeshadow is faded upwards instead of just like, you know, like I applied one color here, one color there, and another one up there, you know. It's going to look very airbrushed. So yeah, that's what you want to do. So yeah, you can do circular motions as well. And you never want to blend from down here. Another thing, you always want to blend from up here. So yeah, you want to either blend from here, or like you can, you know, for easier, for something easier, you can take your brush from up here and go like this. And as you can see, that is just going to really make that eyeshadow look blended. So circles or back and forth is what you want to do. So now that I have my blending shade, I'm going to go 2 shades darker than what I used. So now I am going to take another brush and another eyeshadow. So for my next eyeshadow, I'm going to be taking Soft Brown by MAC. Yeah, as you can see, this is a little bit deeper and a little bit more brown, a little bit warmer. So that's going to go in the crease as well, but that's going to go a lot more precise. So you're going to take a smaller blending brush than the one you used before. So this is what I used before. This is the larger blending brush by Sigma. Now this is what I'm going to use now. So as you can see, it's a lot smaller. This one is a lot fluffier, a lot more like flared out, whereas this one is a little bit denser. It's still a blending brush, but it's a little bit more like tightly packed. So this is going to pick up more product. So the more tightly packed an eyeshadow brush is, like this one, it's going to pick up a little bit more product, and since it's smaller, it's going to be more precise. So again, you're going to dip your brush in there 3 to 4 times. You be the judge. You know, just make sure that it is always, the color is always at the tip of the brush. If it goes any further in, it means you took too much eyeshadow. So yeah, you're going to take this light brown shade and you're going to go a lot more precise. So where your lid ends and the crease begins is where you're going to want to focus that eyeshadow. Going to, again, look down and apply it. As you can see, I'm applying it right in the crease, but I'm being a lot more precise. And for this, I would say for this step, you want to do windshield wiper motions. You don't want to do circular blending motions because then it'll go too high up. So you want to just go back and forth again. And if it helps you to look down, because you can see a lot better what you're doing. Again, I'm looking down. So now I feel like I have the deepness that I want. Now I'm not going to add any more of that light brown shade. So now what you can do is go back with whatever you have left on that brush from that one light shade that we used, the blending shade. And you can go on your upper crease, which is here between, where the crease ends and the brow bone. And you can, reblend just to make sure that it's, looking blended. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is apply a darker shade now to the outer V of the eye. Now I'm going to be using a deeper brown, and this is Brown Script by MAC. This is what I'm going to be using, and I'm going to take my MAC 217 again. What I like to do is I like to go on the outer part of the lid, and first I like to concentrate it there. So I'll do little movements back and forth, and yeah, can also do it in circular motions. So first I'm concentrating the color right here, and then I can blend it up into the crease because I want it to be a little bit darker, and want to make sure you don't take it out too far either. You can lightly feather it in to the lid of the eye as well. As you can see, I'm just doing little short movements back and forth, and then circular motions. Now I can begin to take it. I'm holding it kind of at an angle now. So I'm going like this and pushing it upwards. This is where, you kind of want to do it from the bottom up. Or, if it works for you, straight in is fine. But for me, this is what works. I slant my brush this way, and then I push the color up. So I'm feathering it upwards into the crease and stopping halfway. Now let's say you wanted your look to be a little bit more dramatic. You can always take a little smudge brush like this one, and you can pick up some of that darker brown that we used on the outer corner, or something like a black, and apply it to the outer corner. So yeah, to me this is something that for the daytime, this is very daytime appropriate, I would say. I know for a few people, I know for some people this might be like a little bit too much. I don't know. You can just do some, now like you can do like some winged liner and eyelashes, which is like mascara, and it would just look really pretty. Now if you were to want your lid space to stand out a little bit more, you can always do a shimmery shade, or you can do a skin toned matte shade. So I'm going to take the skin toned matte shade and just reapply it to the lid area, just to make it a little bit more, I don't know, it just adds a lot more lightness to the eyes. Now, let's say you want some shimmer in the inner corner. I always do that. I just feel like it makes my eye look a lot more put together, and it makes my eyes bigger and brighter. So what I usually apply in my inner corner is Nylon by MAC. So yeah, this is like a very pretty, like more like a whitish gold. So yeah, I just apply it in the very inner corners of the eye. Now all these extra steps you guys don't have to do, but that's just, you know, something that I do. And like, it just makes your eyes look more open. So yeah. Now let's say that later on that night you're going out to a party or dinner, and you're going to want to like take your eyeshadow look up a notch. You can take that same dark brown, just apply it to like the outer corner of the eye. So with this really small brush like that, and as you can see, it just is making the look a little bit darker. You can feather it inwards. So yeah, you can do like the deep brown that we used, or you can do something even deeper that is more of a deep brown, almost black. So yeah, now it looks a lot deeper and more like nighttime appropriate. Now let's say you just applied mascara in the day with like this eye look. You can do the deeper outer V. For the night, do some winged liner, do some lashes, and it looks very glam. So yeah, these are my tips to blending and how to put together an eyeshadow look. Now you always want to start out with clean brushes. Number one, you always want to have clean brushes because you don't want eyeshadow buildup on your brushes from previous uses.